Hey, I've got some great data for you for this week's update on the domain monetization industry, so don't go away. So what's been happening this past week? There's been some great things, I must admit, going on. On masterclass lessons, we've been having a really good Q&A times with people. It's been wonderful. In fact, we had one for the European sort of time zone, and a whole lot of people got together, asked some fantastic questions. And I did a presentation on what's happening with the numbers and everything like that in the industry. But it's really good to get that cut and thrust backwards and forwards for particularly all those people who are real masterclass listeners, graduates. And it was exciting. There's some really good, clever questions about domain sales, which keeps me on my toes a bit. So I love that. ParkLogic is going full steam ahead. We're really looking forward to what's happening with NamesCon. NamesCon, 27th to the 29th of January. Like, if you're not booked in, you should really get booked in straight away. I don't get paid for that, by the way, to say that, but you should. ParkLogic is going to be doing a big sponsorship with NamesCon. We're looking forward to seeing anyone who does monetization at all at the event. And remember, it's virtual, so all you got to do is just buy a ticket, and they're really cheap. Get some great content from amazing speakers, and also you can come and join a masterclass lesson with myself. It'll be going on for about a couple of hours, and it's going to be great. A really good time for all of us. So so don't forget that. Like I said, ParkLogic is going full steam ahead, but you know what? We need to look at those numbers. I've shortened the presentation down this time with the numbers and sticking to sort of really some sharp, good points there. So let's take a look at that. So what have we got? So this is the update for this week. I can't believe it's almost the end of the year. So what's going on? Earnings per click and click-through rates. Wow. We can see just there that right at the end of the chart just here on the right hand side, it's got a bit more volatile. In fact, we may just smooth it out with the next chart, which is the trends. We can see they've been going up and down against each other, and the red line just there, which is the EPC, is kicked up, and that's really the result, I think, of the whole season. We had Black Friday, we had Cyber Monday, we got Christmas. My goodness, get your credit cards out and do some damage. And we're all very happy in the monetization side of domaining online, that's for sure. So the EPC rates is kicked up. CTR, of course, has dropped, and as per normal. So where's all the money going? Like, who's paying the money for this sample set of data? Blue is Google, red are the direct advertising networks. And you can see the direct advertising networks as a proportion of the total sum for this sample set, they're paying more and more and more revenue. Like, it's just amazing. It's like linear. Take a look at that. It's just linear just there compared to Google's going down. They're paying out less and less after that constant uplift throughout the year. And I said this last time, I think this has to do with the fact that the direct advertising networks are broadening their base, and they're getting a lot more variety of advertisers into the mix. It'll be really interesting to see what happens when big verticals like travel and stuff come online. But at the same time, like, who's winning the traffic? That hasn't changed. So the direct advertisers are paying more, but they're not actually winning more traffic. Well, maybe they're winning the right type of traffic and they're getting smarter about what they're buying. I actually don't really know. And in some ways, I don't really mind, because as long as they pay more, that's always a good thing. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a tipping point that occurs, and as the direct advertisers continue to pay more, at some point it'll suddenly get bang, and they'll take a big step up and they'll grab a whole chunk of that traffic. And that is going to happen. 2021, I think, is going to be a very different year, and I really hope it is, particularly in the view of COVID and so forth, compared to 2020. 2020 was terrible. And we can see this. This is the normalized RPM. I put them both Google in blue and direct advertising networks in red on the same chart. And so it gives a direct comparison. And remember when I talked about, gee, look at that, they're almost overlapping? Now take a look. The direct advertising networks have broken completely out. And if you don't have access to those networks, because you've got all your domains with, say, one typical parking company or something, then you're missing out a big chunk of revenue. That's the bottom line. So, and you can see that back here, there was a lot of variability. Look at the variability in the direct advertisers. And then as it came down, there's less variability, which suggests there was like less advertisers. And we're starting to get a bit more variability, which suggests that more and more of those advertisers coming back to the direct advertising networks. Okay, so I'm going to give you a short little lesson now in statistics, and that is, what's a correlation? I actually brought this up a couple of weeks ago about correlations, and some of the feedback was, well, I actually don't know what a correlation is. Okay, a correlation is comparing two sets of values to see whether there's some sort of relationship between them. It doesn't say that there is a relationship necessarily. In terms of, you could compare electricity versus water usage. Is there really a relationship? I don't know. Could be a fluke, but it's unlikely to be the case when it comes to domains. So an inverse relationship is a negative relationship. So as one value goes up, the other one goes down. The no relationship is as one value does whatever it does, the other one, it just does some random sort of value. There's no relationship at all. The closest to zero, the numbers are. The plus one is as one value goes up, the other one goes up. So let's take a look at some numbers now. Okay, if you take a look at these numbers are pretty amazing. URLs to views. URLs is raw traffic that we look at, say in ParkLogic, I chose 3 parking companies. By the way, the colors bear no resemblance to any of them. So don't suddenly think, oh, I know what that one is, or I know what this one is. No, you actually don't. They're completely random. I just chose 3 because they fit nicely on the slide. Everything will get too small. So URLs to view is 0.39, minus 0.33, and 0.56. So what does the minus 0.33 mean? It means that as we send more traffic, there's likely to be a decrease in views. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Or how about look at URLs to revenue and there's a negative, or views to revenue. And with views to revenue is, as there's more views, there's likely to be a greater revenue, which makes sense. So let's take a look at, say, something like the RPM to revenue number, 0.76, 0.54, and 0.34. What it's saying is that as there's more, as the RPM goes up, guess what? The revenue goes up. Woohoo! That sounds good to me at 0.76. Not so much at 0.54 and 0.34. Really? The RPM bears no resemblance at all, almost, to the revenue, which sounds a bit odd, doesn't it? Well, how about EPC to revenue? Well, it looks like a reasonably strong correlation of 0.54, 0.87, and 0.56. But how about CTR to revenue? CTR, click-through rate, 0.01. Minus 0.01. What it's saying is that as the CTR changes, it has no relationship with that parking company to revenue. I hear crickets. Yep, I think I do. I heard some crickets then. Let me repeat that. As the CTR goes up, there is no relationship between that and the revenue. So all of you out there are saying, oh yes, click-through rate, and all that sort of stuff, and revenue, that's a great relationship to between the two. Not for that company. Or minus 0.45 to revenue. So as the CTR goes up, the revenue goes down. And minus 0.3, as the CTR goes up, the revenue goes down. So you don't really want your click-through rate to go up. That's what that's saying. How about CTR to EPC? Minus 0.71, minus 0.54, minus 0.63. Wow. These are like negatives. Like as the CDI goes up, the EPC goes down. And we saw that in a previous chart, didn't we? But here's the clicks to revenue is 0.37, 0.41, 0.3. You would think that as there's more clicks, there's going to be more revenue. No, it's not the case. That's what that's saying. That is not the case. There is there's some other factors at play here. Yeah, so it's a really interesting scenario. Yeah, what these numbers begin to mean, and I'll be diving more and more into things like correlations and everything in the coming weeks. But next week, I'm not going to be doing an update. I'm really sorry about that, but I'm taking a break for Christmas to be with my family. And you know what? You should too. Take a break, put your feet up, enjoy the fruits of this year, and look forward and pray that next year will be such a much better year. But in the meantime, I just want to wish you and your family and loved ones a very Merry Christmas. Have a safe and happy New Year, and I look forward to seeing you at NamesCon, or if you give me a call on Skype or send me an email or anything like that. I just love to hear from people like yourself. So please, take care of yourself. Goodbye. I hope you enjoyed that video and you find them really valuable for your business and helping you make better decisions. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or pass the video on to your friends. Anyway, thanks a lot for that. Have a great day. Bye.